That's more than many others are why I love doing this, because these events are about us being able to express our imagination and have fun. And it's moments like that that make me really enjoy being here. So thank you, Peacemaker.
Bart here with Tully Television. Today we're going to be getting into the latest episode of Peacemaker, Back to the Suture. But before we do, I want to thank all of you for stopping by. I hope that today is the day we can earn that subscription. It really does help the channel if you like, comment, share, because every little ad interaction helps our channel grow to go straight to the moon, baby. But let's get into Peacemaker. Season 2, Episode 5. There's 8 episodes altogether in this season, meaning that we do have 3 more episodes left. Now, the beginning of this particular episode has us waiting with Harcourt basically to meet up with Chris. Now, we were left wondering if she was really going to betray Chris for a spot at Argus, the way Flag Sr. promised her. When he pulls up, at all the Argus team that's there, right, all are going by code names of colors. Judah Master, I guess, is fuchsia, even though you think maybe green. I don't know. Very Reservoir Dogs, if you will. And when Chris shows up, he is aware that they're there because he doesn't know specifically who would be at a sniper rifle, but what he's doing is he's going behind people, or he's making it hard for the shot to be taken without hitting an innocent bystander. This kid's playing on the soccer field, so he runs and he is playing soccer with the kids and stuff like that. And so he finally makes it to Harcourt. And she's, is letting him know that the reason why he's specifically there is to get one way or the other if she loves him, has feelings for him, because he's at his wit's end, so to speak, when it comes to this relationship, not relationship situation with her. There was a situation on a boat, on a party boat or whatever, that's making him feel like stuck on this, you know what I mean? And he asks her straight up, because at this point, the Argus agents are starting to close in, if you will, blocking his exits. And now, I'm not saying that he would have totally gotten away or totally not hurt, but I mean, with these guys that are on the detail, there's only one person or a couple people that I would feel like had a legitimate shot at helping taking them down, one being Harcourt, and the other is the Sasha character that's like Flag Senior's right-hand person, so to speak. We wind up finding out that Sasha is a cyborg. Now, I know I didn't really talk much about this particular character, but what she is an Argus agent, and it seems like Flag Senior has kind of made her his point man inside the office, and we do see later on near the end of the episode that her and McFlag are flirting, basically. And Fleury, Tim Meadows' character, sees this, he catches it, and it makes him wonder. There's another incident that's going to be pretty interesting when it comes to Fleury, Agent Fleury, later on in this episode. But, so that was revealed that Sasha is a cyborg. Um, and like I said, with him asking Harcourt, is there any feelings there? He even said, "Is it because you and Flags Jr. were a thing?" He was aware of that, and she was like, "You killed my only friend," and I, of course, wanted to do something, but as we know, with everything that has happened since her joining the team or being part of the team that was, uh, from season one, right? She got told. We even see in the beginning of the episode at the funeral of Flag Junior, where Flag Senior is asking her if she can help him find out who did it, and they do seem to have a genuine connection based off of their separate relationship of off of Flag and Junior there, but she has grown. I think her story is one of the better emotional journeys for me this year because you're agent, right? And you understand why Peacemaker, Chris, aka Chris, did what he did. He had it. He was ordered to do what he did by Amanda Waller, but that doesn't change that that was her best friend that was murdered by Chris, and then to have to keep an eye on him, eventually learn that he's a better person than a lot of people like to admit, that she even likes to maybe admit, and with him, falling in love with her, so to speak, and her having possible feelings, but knowing that it's never going to work, she says, it's just never going to be what it is you want it to be. And so he allows himself to get arrested. Now, during this time, Eagly and Red St. Wild do have their final confrontation. And I tell you, it's the final confrontation. There's this like big, it's a real gun. It was a hunting gun. It has to be, geez Louise, like about 6 feet long, maybe even longer. It looks like a big shoddy. Um, it looks like a mega-sized blunderbuss, and we see Red St. Wild shooting at who we think is Eagly, and winds up hitting him, and he approaches Eagly. He initially tried to poison Eagly with a poisoned rat, but because Vigilante um, distracted him eagerly from eating it, some fox ate it, and then when the fox died, we know that Eagly was like realizing that someone was trying to kill him. So when Richard Wild made his attempted to make his move against Eagly, so to speak, we find out that Eagly is the prime eagle. It wasn't all shenanigans like we were thinking. Eagly is probably one of the more powerful members of the team, if not the most powerful member on the team, simply by just the fact that he can control eagles around him and get them to do whatever it is he wants, obviously, because once they corner Red St. Wild, all these eagles that like 30 to 40 eagles, I would have to say, easy, and they wind up ripping this man to shreds. At some point, they don't actually show him, but it's pretty obvious what happens to Red St. Wild when all those eagles come basically covering him. There's only one option, I'm getting out of there at this point because Eagly's understanding like this, he has to take him out. So we kind of understand why Eagly seems to be so much different than your standard Eagles. Speaking of Vigilante, real quick, I wanted to say that there's a little scene between him and Adebayo was funny. She happened as they're discussing what's going on with Chris and everything else, and the portal door and all this, trying to get a gist of what's going on. Like I said, Adebayo got her first customer, and he's asking her questions like how long she's been at it and stuff, and does she grease? And like as far as security, yes, I grease. And so she gets off and asks Adrian Vigilante, "What is that?" And he's like, "Well, as far as security goes, it means nothing." And she's like, "Okay." And then he's like, "But as far as prostitution means, it means you allow butt stuff." And she's like, "What?" Bugging out, and he's like, "Yeah, I thought that was a prostitution call. I thought that's what you were knowingly doing." And he's like, "It's all right. I support you. It's the Johns I don't like." You know what I mean? Where he's just like not totally. He just totally never gets it. You know what I mean? And I think that there's got to be something to just his inability to read the room, but it adds for some unique conversations and some funny scenes with him and the other actors around him, characters, if you will. And of course, Adrian's still on animal facts. We're learning animal facts about manta rays this time. I'm sure there's something that's going to wind up coming out of that. I'm hoping. So, but we're going to get back to Chris real quick when he got surrounded. Um, Flag Sr. had asked Sasha to give him a kill shot. And we see that's how we discover she's a cyborg, because we see her eye doing like the focusing thing to figure out when the best shot is to take and everything. And even Economos later on, MVP, he mentions how much he hates Sasha because of her bitchiness and his perceived ways of her ways about her. And he's like, "I even keep a picture of her mangled body on my screensaver." The Harcourt's like, "Geez, Louise, man, like what the hell is wrong with you?" But yeah, she's not a very nice character anyway. But um, Economos, Economos gets convinced to book Chris while he's there at Argus because no one put him on the books yet. Because Rick Flag was putting boots to fucking face to Chris. He beat the snot out of this man, the ever living snot out of this man. And because Economos booked him, Flag had to stop because they couldn't bring him to a police department especially looking the way he does, like that. Uh, he did such a good job that even Agent Flurry, the Tim Meadows character, turned around and he was like, "You did the right thing." So we're gonna see Flurry maybe eventually become 11th Street Kid at the end of this season, perhaps. He's not as oblivious to the world as he seems to be. He seems to have stopped doing nicknames too, because he called Judo Master Duncan Munchkin, and Judo Master threatened him with a move in which it would require his pecker getting bitten off. And he's like, "Oh, anything you say, Judo Master. No more nicknames over here." Telling you. Tim Meadows is a sleeper. His character's awesome, in my opinion. I love Tim Meadows as as an actor, but this Agent Flurry character, thumbs up. And so eventually Chris gets booked, though, and he asks for some private time at the cabin. He calls for Eagly. Eagly eventually comes. Chris leaves a note for the 11th Street kids gang there, the rest of them, and tells them that he's going to the other dimension. And we find out that he closes the door behind him to never be able to come back. And all that's left is the suitcase, the platform, if you will. And Chris makes his way to the other dimension. We see that his brother Keith asks where Eagly came from. He was like, oh, he's just a rescue eagle, and he's going to be my new sidekick, right? And then we see him, Keith, and Augie all in their superhero. I know how to talk to you. Superhero outfits, right, to go defeat a kaiju that's on the loose. That's the same kaiju that Superman was fighting in the Superman movie that came out earlier this year. So in that reality, it makes you wonder if this is Superman or not. And as far as the other reality, there's a lot of theories on the fact of obviously it's not as awesome as it may seem. Because we know that Augie is a racist. These are white supremacists. And it's beginning to look more and more like this might be a state, a nation of not very many diverse members of the country. And that might have a lot to do with Augie and his two boys. And Chris isn't realizing this. He just wants to, he's so distraught and so isolated and wants love so bad that it's putting his, these blinders up to not realizing what is so obvious in front of him, you know? But we're going to see what happens because Harcourt, of all people, when everyone is told about what he did, is the one that wants to go get him out of there. Judo Master, who was following Chris after being released, also follows Chris into the dimensional doorway there. And this is where we might start getting more what's going on in that reality and in that world, because like I said, there's only 3 more episodes and we don't really know much about that reality too much, but I'm hoping now that Chris is there and we got 3 more episodes, that we can get 2 full episodes of the other reality, of everyone in the other reality, or seeing what happens in the other reality. That's what's going on in season 2, episode 5, The Peacemaker. Let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget how awesome and amazing all of you are. And until next time, peace, Nichols.